0 to 60 can define a performance car, but it's the fastest 60 to 0 that's the aim of Tarok's brakes. From road cars to race cars, circuits, special stages, or the autostrada, nothing reduces speed like Tarok's brakes. Italy gave the world the art of Da Vinci and Michelangelo. Tarok's has given drivers the art of stopping. For more information and to acquire your own masterpiece, visit tarox.co.uk. Yes, it's me, Mike Stone, and this is the Backseat Driver podcast. It's the fastest, it's the friendliest, and it's for all the family. The Gas Shocks 116 Trophy and 120 Coupe Cup are the fastest growing race series in the UK, taking in 6 one-hour races and 8 sprints at all the top circuits. Visit 116trophy.com to find out more and get yourself behind the wheel. From a pot of tea to TT motorbikes. From a classic English breakfast to a full serving of classic cars. Bridge House Tea Rooms is the Northwest premier classic car meeting location for cars, bikes, tractors and owners clubs. So no matter what your automotive appetite might be, visit Bridge House Farm Tea Rooms on their Facebook page or call John and Alicia on 07980 444 221 for show details and to reserve your own table and parking space. I'd like to introduce the Backseat Driver, a young chap, known as, his proper name is Matt Sims. He's better known to the world of motorhoming as Motorhome Matt. Matt, welcome to Backseat Driver.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Now, I'm giving my age away because I can remember that motorhomes, as such, when I was a lad, they had a generic name of Dormobiles. Dormobiles made van conversions, but unless you had a Westphalia Volkswagen, all they've got a Dormobile. It's a bit like Hoovers and Byros and Sellotape. It's a generic name.
It's built on a Bedford CF.
Yeah.
Yeah, with a pudding bowl steering gear stick, like a big spoon.
Yeah. And the first thing you used to see them do when they stopped, we get up, walk between seats, go it back and push the roof up. So they could actually walk about it.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Gosh, they're going back. I think they're worth some money now, you know?
Are they?
Yeah, if they're not rotten out.
And of course, they used to put a tent up because that's where the toilet was, and you used to shuffle everything about inside to go from living area to bed and all the rest of it. And it was, going to bed was generally about 3/4 of an hour's process at one point, I think.
Yeah,
right there.
Yeah, they've changed a lot since then, mind you. Have you been in one recently?
No. Well, I must hold my hand up and say yes, because we're here at the Great Yorkshire Showground in Harrogate for the big motorhome exhibition, and I am sat in one with Matt. This one, it's actually not a motorhome. It's one of those that hooks onto a fifth wheel in the back of a 4x4.
Yeah, that's right. It's called a fifth wheel, yeah.
It's quite spectacular, isn't it?
It's lovely. This is called a Celtic Rambler.
Yeah.
From the Fifth Wheel Company, and they've kindly let us come and sit in it for half an hour while the show's over.
Yeah. I must say, when you look round this, it's changed a lot.
Yeah.
But the popularity due to the 2.5 years lockdown there's been an explosion of motorhomes, not literally. And also, from what I can see walking around the exhibition, the value of them has gone up.
That's very true.
Extremely, by an incredible amount. I mean, when did it all start, motorhoming?
Motorhoming, gosh, a long time ago. So motorhoming became very popular post-war.
Yeah.
So caravanning came first, and then people started doing dormobiles, camper vans. So the VW camper van, the original bay window, became really popular in the 60s. And I guess it just grew and evolved from there. It became a really prolific pastime on the continent. So motorhoming, very popular in Europe. Whereas in Britain, we became much more of a caravanning nation.
Yeah.
And it's only really in recent decades that we've become motorhomers. And motorhoming is growing far faster than caravans.
Yeah.
The recent changes to the law, meaning people can tow a caravan now without taking an extra test, has meant a renaissance for caravans, and teardrop caravans have become very, very popular. So these are ones that literally look like a teardrop. They're very small, but motorhoming has become incredibly popular, driven really by COVID and travel restrictions where people couldn't go abroad.
Yeah.
They wanted a holiday where they could be isolated and in their own COVID bubble, and a motorhome offered the perfect solution for that.
I mean, the one thing about them is a motorhome is it's self-propelled. It's when you climb behind the wheel, it's not hooked to the back of you. You are driving around within it.
Yeah, you are.
And it's like you said abroad. I mean, the Dutch are into caravans. They always have been. When I used to spend a lot of time driving in Europe, no, somebody will complain about this, but if you were being held up, it invariably was a cloggy pulling his caravan. But the Germans, the Italians, everybody else have been fascinated. To a degree, I can remember watching a show on YouTube whereby if you bought the famous Volkswagen van, especially the split screens, the early ones, you used it for work Monday to Friday, and then you bought this camping box that they called it. It was a big wooden box that you slid in. You took your tools out, slid the box in, threw a mattress in it, and bingo, you got
a whole camper van, yeah. Multi-purpose.
Multi-purpose.
We're seeing a return of that. And there was a huge show in Birmingham at the NEC back in February, and there's another one in October. And it's a big motorhome and caravan show. And there was an electric van there being launched at the show. And it was deemed to be the first multi-purpose camper van. It was a 7-seater. And you could actually take the kitchen unit out, put it outside and use it, or just take it away. And it was either a 7-seater shuttle, kind of a minibus, and it became a camper van. It had a heated bed. It was all electric pop-up roof.
Yeah.
I said, well, I'll tell her, you lie down, I'll plug it in.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a really innovative product called Camper Van Co. And I'm a huge fan. We're seeing lots of innovation like that in our industry now, which is exciting. And the whole move to EV is a big debate and a big topic. And I have lots of questions around that. And
well, given EVs tend not to go as far as the manufacturers say they'll go, given the fact that EVs are now getting very expensive to charge up, to a degree, a friend of mine now pays more than I do to charge his EV, more than I do to tank one of my cars up. And I think the other problem would be range, because they don't go so far. And I get the feeling a motorhome isn't a light thing.
No. And on our podcast, we are going to be talking this year a lot about EV and electrification. And electric vans they're just not there yet. They don't have the range that a motorhome needs. Most people only travel 40 miles a day. So an EV's fine for that. You just charge at night, every night. No problem. But in a motorhome, you want to drive to maybe 300 miles, particularly on the continent.
Oh, yeah.
And you can't do that with electric motorhome. The other issue comes is when you get to the campsite, can you recharge it? In fact, The Sun ran a story this week about campsites being unable to accommodate people with electric cars because they just won't be able to recharge their car on the campsite because they don't have the infrastructure. So it's a huge topic, and one we're starting to explore on the Motorhome Matt podcast. And we've lots of questions. I'm struggling to find the answers, I have to say.
What you need is for the same thing that when somebody runs out of electricity in the car, you need a van with a diesel generator in the back. You find it takes you like a street to recharge them.
Ironic.
Hidden away in the heart of the Ribble Valley, Specialised Automotive Services offer unrivalled levels of talent for all types of vehicles. All makes and models, old and new, are cared for with the exact same levels of detail. From accident repairs, paintwork, or even full bespoke bare metal resprays. Mechanical rebuilds to full replacement or modifications of defunct electrical systems. Specialised Automotive Services offer traditional engineering and mechanical skills along with the company's constantly updated digital systems and diagnostics. Each SAS technician embodies the SAS ethos of ensuring everything is in order and exactly as it should be. To arrange a guided tour of the workshops and the new vehicle finishing and detailing bay, call Dean on 01282 776 081 or visit sas-autos.co.uk. Now, as I mentioned some of the old brands, I mean, which are the modern brands? Because walking around this exhibition, it's bewildering how many makes and models there is. I mean, they're all ultimately based, from what I can see, on the big Fiat, Citroën, Peugeot vans, and of course the ubiquitous Volky T35 and Ford Transit, the ever faithful tranny van. But I conclude that that's where it ends.
No, so we're seeing a renaissance and a return of brands like Mercedes coming back into the motorhome market, MAN as well, making an appearance. First time I've seen them in the UK. And a lot of this, the reason for this is about supply.
Yeah.
So Fiat's supply chain is, frankly, it would appear to the consumer to be broken.
Yeah.
Fiat would say it's not. Of course they would. But there are
Fiat will say it's not, but I can assure you folks, your customers are right.
But Fiat have been prolific in the motorhome market. I mean, nearly 90% of motorhomes have been built on a Fiat chassis. And lots of good reasons why as well. So the chassis has lots of space in it. They call it a ladder chassis when it's just the cab, the ladder and the four wheels. And that gives lots of space for a motorhome converter to put water tanks, gas tanks, and all of the facilities you need. They're a maxi chassis, so the back wheels are wider apart than the front, which aids stability. But Fiat's supply chain is suffering. It's for lots of reasons. And Ford have made a big return into the market, with manufacturers opting now to build on the Ford Transit instead. But as I say, we're seeing a lot more Mercedes, and MAN are, I think, very new to the market.
When they get the van, is it a van or is it the chassis cab, or are both converted? Do the manufacturers buy the both?
So a van with a sliding door we would call a camper van.
Yeah.
And people say, what's the difference between a camper van and a motorhome? A camper van tends to be a van. It's got a toilet and a shower in it, because most motorhomes have that facility. And that's the van with the sliding door. Then a motorhome is delivered as a cab and chassis, so a Lara chassis. And then some manufacturers cut the back of the chassis off and extend it.
Yeah. Because some of them are twin axle at the back, aren't they?
Some are twin axle. They have an extended chassis made by usually a company called Alco, and they're delivered as a push me pull you. I mean, they're hilarious to see, with a cab at each end.
Oh, right.
And both sets of wheels steer.
Yeah.
And they're cut in the middle, and a new back end chassis welded on or bolted on, and a new rear axles fitted, or axles.
Yeah.
And then a big motorhome is built. And some are delivered with no cab. So we have a coach built motorhome where you've got the original cab, and then we've got an A-Class where the original cab is gone and it looks like a bus. So it's got a huge windscreen.
That's how I used to see bus chassis being delivered. It'd be a chassis with an engine, and some poor soul freezing to death, sat on a box, sat on the box behind the wheel.
We used to see them. I used to stand at the side of the road with my granddad watching them drive down the road, a Bristol Bus Company, being built. But yeah, these chassis become A-Class motorhomes. So they're the higher end, big windscreens, and I guess they look a bit more American, but they're European built. And they're usually Fiat Ducato, Mercedes, and so on. But yeah, those are the traditional brands that we see on the kind of rolling gear.
Yeah.
And then you've got the motorhome manufacturer, and normally that name is above the windscreen. And that's the name of the company that converted and built the motorhome.
Yeah.
So that might be Swift, Auto Trail, Bailey. These are some of the British manufacturers, Eldis. And then you see brands, some of your listeners will be familiar with brands like Hymer. You might see Adria, and these are brands that are built on the continent.
Right. The one thing I've always known is Hymer used to be built on Mercedes, probably not exclusive anymore, and they were the posh ones. If you saw a Hymer, it was posh. They got plenty of money there.
And they are posh, yeah. They tend to be higher priced. Yeah. They're not always built on Mercedes anymore. And Hymer, Irwin Hymer Group are massive, and they've started buying up a lot of UK manufacturers, as have Trigano, who are a French company.
Yeah.
They've started buying up a lot of European and UK manufacturers. So yeah, the tide is changing and how our industry works. But you're right, there's been a huge boom since COVID, and that's created inflated prices. I mean, you look around here, £100,000 plus is not uncommon.
I mean, you were saying, how much is this that we're sat at?
This is over 100k.
Yeah.
And
and they're not being funny. You need the four-wheel drive pickup to...
You need the pickup as well, yeah. So this is a bit different. But a £100,000 motorhome only a few years ago was probably 60-something thousand pounds.
Yeah.
So if you bought one in 2019, you are certainly going to get your money back in 2023.
Yeah.
And had 4 years of holidays. So they've been a really, really good investment. And people say the bubble's going to burst. The prices are going to come down. They're not. I mean, once a dealer's paid 60 grand in part exchange for it, that's what it's worth.
Yeah.
So they will sell it for 70. They're not going to sell it for 55. Their registered charity number hasn't come through yet. That's the market value.
Yeah.
And once you've paid, it's like you were telling me earlier with your Morgans. Once someone's paid that new price of 40k or whatever it is, that's the price.
Yeah. I think the other thing is, if somebody's paid all this money, I mean, like, for example, once again, the one we're sat in, you're not going to keep it for 12 months and then get rid of it.
Well, some people do.
Oh.
It's interesting with motorhomes. So, people that are new to it say, well, mate, it's 4 years old and had 4 owners.
Yeah.
What's wrong with it? That's not uncommon. In traditional times, people would buy a new motorhome every year.
Yeah.
And that really was quite common, particularly people that have had a pension payout and they've got the funds to do it.
Yeah.
Whether
I conclude then that each time they traded up. The next one was
they might trade up.
one.
They just might trade for a different layout. So a motorhome is all about the layout, how you want to sleep and how you want to sit.
Yeah.
And that's the first thing I say to people looking at a motorhome is you need to consider the layout. Ignore the screen price. Just go and sit in everything. Go and hire one. Go and try before you buy, because you don't know what you don't know. And my first question is, how do you want to sleep? Do you want to sleep together in a double bed? Do you want to sleep in single beds? Do you want bunk beds? And we've made mistakes with motorhome purchases and bought, a big rear lounge.
Yeah.
Looks lovely. We're sat in one now. They've got a big seating area. It's great. But in a motorhome with a lounge like this, there's no storage. There's no garage area. You can't get a motorbike underneath the lounge. So you've got no cupboard space to put all your stuff.
Oh, right.
And so you end up carrying bikes and, valuable stuff in the motorhome on the floor. It's a nightmare. Rear lounges work for people who are going to spend all day sat in it. If you're going away through the winter, a great idea. But for families going away, you need storage space. And I know so many people that buy a rear lounge motorhome and a year later they're trading it in for something else.
Yeah.
Because they just didn't try it before they bought it.
Right. I'd never thought of that. I mean, where we're sat now is a lounge, and absolutely fantastic kitchen, full a proper oven, a proper sink, a proper deep freeze, microwaves. I mean, everything is here.
Big flat screen.
Big flat screen television and everything that goes with it. I mean, where I experienced motorhomes was from my days of racing, and still do, like with the rallying. You go into a paddock and the motorhomes are there.
Yeah.
And they tend to be the big ones.
The Americans.
Yeah. That's the one thing I've got told. There's camper vans, motorhomes, and RVs, which apparently is the American.
It is, recreational vehicle.
Yeah.
I wish we would adopt that kind of name for them in this country, because we have leisure vehicles.
Yeah.
And, shows like this show's called, we're at is the Motorhome and Camper Van Show.
Yeah.
The show in Birmingham is called the Caravan Camping and Motorhome Show. We can't come up with an overarching term for these different type of vehicles, where the Americans have, it's an RV. This is a fifth wheel, it's an RV. Big American coach, it's an RV.
Yeah.
A small camper van, a VW type, it's an RV. It's a recreational vehicle. And I wish we'd adopt the term in this country, but we don't. It's still very much an American term.
I mean, RV, I get the feeling they're built on coaches, or are they full custom built?
They're a custom build, so it's a chassis, lots of different types of, it's a whole different market, the American stuff. They're petrol engines at the front.
Yeah.
It could be a diesel engine at the front. It could be a diesel pusher where the engine's at the back. And then you've got the coach built on it, and you've got brands like Ford, Cummins, some big names.
Because there are these huge V8s in them all.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. V10s, V12s. And it's a very different market to here in the UK. Taking one of those down to Cornwall, I remember taking it was called a Fleetwood Revolution, had 3 slide outs. So you're sat in a slide out here now, where the sides slide out, literally, meet the Fokkers style. It was a big bus. We were towing a car, and we were on our way to a campsite, going downhill, and this guy was coming up, and in the highway code, yes, he has right of way.
Yeah.
And he decided to tell me this. And I got out and said, look, I'm really sorry, I can't reverse. I've got my right of way. You have, yes. But what you don't realise is I've got a car behind me.
Yeah.
And to reverse, I have to take the car off, reverse the car, reverse the coach, park everything up, re-hitch the car. It's not happening. Would you just mind rolling down the hill, 100 yards back there? I know there's a farm entrance.
Yeah.
Just pull in there and we'll be straight past you and on our way. No, it's my right of way. I said, listen, pal, I've got a week's worth of food and drink.
Sorry, as you just say, you're in a car, I'm going to go and make a pot of tea.
Back in, sat down, spanned the driver's seat. My kid said, "Dad, what are you doing?" I said, "I'm just teaching him a lesson." Saying it with the arms folded, he reversed into the entrance of the field.
Now, some of those that you see, I mean, besides the what do they call it? The where they expand out like this,
The slide out.
your slide outs. Some of them have an upstairs.
Yeah.
So you get to where you're going, flick some switches, and all of a sudden it's doubled, trebled in size.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. I mean, they are unique. I mean, there's some on the continent that are hugely expensive with features like that. You don't tend to get vehicles like that in the UK. It's just too big. In the States, yes. And the roads are massive there. Campsites are huge. There's lots of space. But in this country, smaller vehicles are more popular. The other issue we've got in this country is what we can drive.
Yeah.
So the restriction on our driving licence. So, you're an old git like me. We've got them grandfather rights. Yeah. I'm assuming you can drive a 7.5 ton lorry. You passed your test before.
It takes expired. I used to be able to drive a 40-odd foot oil.
Well, there we are. That's a different test, though.
Yeah.
But when you pass that car test, you could get out and jump into a big green parcel machine. After you rip up the L plates on the Mini.
Yeah.
And go and drive a 7.5 ton lorry with a tail lift. Those rules changed in '97 as part of being in the EU. And so you pass your test and you're restricted to 3.5 tons. That's still the case today.
Which, personally speaking, I don't think is a bad idea, because to let somebody go from a Mini to a 7.5 ton van, or I think it used to be 7.9 ton, because some of the truck manufacturers all used to have these 7.9 ton vehicles. It was a tad, the full vehicle was a tad under the maximum.
Right. Okay.
So that's why there were these little trucks all trundling around with 7.5 or 7.9 ton gross weight.
Right, okay. Well, at the moment, the Department for Transport are reviewing it, and there's consultation going on, and they're actually going to present this back to Parliament.
Yeah.
And with the view to make a recommendation, I hope, that the C1 entitlement will be issued to everyone.
Right.
So we will all once again be able to drive up to 7.5 tons, which for us in our little motorhome niche, which is a growing number of people, if the motorhome is 4.25 tons or capable of being that, or 4.5 tons, it could be plated at that, and you've got a massive payload again.
Yeah.
You've got braking and suspension that can deal with it, but you're safe and legal because so many motorhomes are being driven around overweight.
Yeah.
And payloads are getting squeezed. The chassis are getting more and more equipment on them, extra airbags, sat-navs, the chassis are getting heavier with features, which means the motorhome converters have to make lighter materials to make them within that 3.5 ton, which means as a result the motorhome quality perhaps is going down.
Well, it's like funny enough, it's like motorsport. You make something ultra light to make it light, and all of a sudden you're building in potential failure.
That's right, yeah, and that is happening on motorhomes definitely. Yeah. So if this restriction is lifted, it will be a breath of fresh air for our industry. It will mean people can get to HGV quicker.
Yeah.
That's the agenda, and that's why. But the byproduct of this change will mean that the motorhome world, a 4.25 ton motorhome will be standard. And of course, at the moment, if your van you're driving is all electric, we don't have electric motorhomes yet; they're not here yet. But if your van is all electric, the limit's 4.25 ton.
All right.
So, the recommendation is you have some driver training.
Yeah.
But you are allowed on a B licence to drive 4.25 tons if it's all electric.
Right. If somebody buys a first-time buyer as such, if they've never driven a motorhome or, shall we say, a van, a long wheelbase van, are there courses they can go on?
There are driving courses, yeah. We used to run them, actually, and we might reintroduce them at some point. But there are driving courses, and they're really easy to drive. People look at them and go, oh, my goodness, it's so long. And the length is not the issue. The issue is really actually the width and the height. The length's only an issue when you turn or go backwards.
Yeah.
And then it becomes a consideration. The rest of the time, it just follows you. I'd say to people, when you're driving a motorhome, you're up high, you've got a fantastic view, and you're on holiday. You're not in a rush. You're not trying to get into that appointment. Just take your time and just enjoy the ride, and you can peer into people's gardens because you're parked.
And the other thing is, like a lot of modern cars, they'll have nice big wing mirrors and reversing cameras.
They tend
so you can see where you're going. They'll probably be better kitted out than a car will because there'll be cameras all over the place.
Yeah, and you get cameras surrounding us as well. Like every side.
Yeah,
all sorts of kit is available. Yeah.
What's the most basic thing if somebody wants to buy a motorhome? What's the most basic thing they should buy apart from? It's like I said, you could buy a van and throw a mattress in, and technically you've got yourself a camper van.
Technically, yeah. I wouldn't want to spend the night in it necessarily. The most basic, well, there's lots of self-conversions. So the market has exploded with van converters. The van life hashtag on Instagram is boomed massively. Millions of people. So probably a basic conversion that someone has done, you could do on yourself.
Yeah.
As you say, you throw a mattress in or just build a basic bed, basic kitchen unit, and you can buy this stuff. It's modular for the van you're converting. So that's probably a basic start. The consideration there is, how is it registered with DVLA? If it's a van, then it's going to have a low value. So getting it suddenly, if you've converted it, it's not worth $5,000 anymore. It's worth $20,000 because it's now a camper van.
Yeah.
So you need to make sure that it is
because there's always been something about if you buy a van, great. If you knock the side panels out and put windows in, it changes it.
Well, it would change its status in terms of appearance. You need to then change its status with DVLA.
Yeah.
So you need to get it changed to van with windows. That's a category of V5. A van with windows, though, is restricted to 60 mile an hour on all roads, so on motorways and dual carriageways. So that's something that people don't realise. If it's a motor caravan, which is the other classification for a vehicle, if it's a motor caravan, the speed limit is raised to 70 or 60, depending on the payload, but you can go faster, and this is something people don't realise.
Yeah.
Insurers, we've been talking to a motorhome insurance company about this, and if they've got evidence of the conversion, photographs, receipts and so on, and it's a van with windows, they are happy to insure it as a camper van or motor caravan value. That's key, is having the evidence. If it's a motor caravan, getting a motor caravan status on something that was originally a van with DVLA is now a challenge. It has to be high top, has to be covered in graphics. They want to see lots and lots of evidence. It is really challenging to get a change of status to motor caravan with DVLA.
No. Right. So it's a bit of a minefield in many ways.
It is a bit.
You're probably better off going to buy one done.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, then they're going to be more money, of course.
Yeah.
So, you asked what's the most basic. That's where you start.
Yeah.
And then you go to an established converter who's done all the work for you, often on a VW or Ford Transit.
Yeah.
And suddenly you're then looking brand new. Well, 60k plus.
Yeah.
At the moment.
Right.
Depending if it's a brand new van or a year old.
Yeah.
That's a typical value, 55k plus.
Now, the one thing I know you've been talking about, like looking around this, as I said, with a beautiful kitchen, deep freeze, microwave, flat screen TV,
water,
heating, hot water. I mean, I could actually live in this, which is surprising given what various people will tell you I'm a fussy bugger at the best of times. But, I mean, now we've got the marvellous world. You can get Wi-Fi in them. Yeah. You can get satellite TV. Yeah. I mean, everything that you would find at home, you find in a motorhome.
Well, yeah, satellite TV is a bit of a thing of the past now, Mark.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry.
Get with it. Come on. You got your VHS in the corner there, haven't you?
No, Betamax if you don't.
My satellite dishes on roofs was a big popular thing, but now it's all Wi-Fi. So, you stream on Amazon with your Fire Stick or Netflix. You just do it over Wi-Fi. So, yeah, one of the presentations I'm giving at this show is on this Wi-Fi on the move, and it is a minefield.
Yeah.
And people are like, well, what SIM card do I need? How much data are you going to use? I don't know.
Yeah, and depends how many films you watch.
Exactly. So it is a minefield, and I'm giving a presentation on exactly this topic because it's a big question is about solar panels and motorhome Wi-Fi. So mobile Wi-Fi. How does it work, and how do I install it? It's actually really simple, and there are a number of companies that have come into our marketplace who are making aerials that go on the roof.
Oh, right.
They pick up Wi-Fi, so they're a permanent install. There's some portable units as well, which are designed for motorhomes. They're 12-volt powered, and they fit on your roof or stick on the window, and there you go.
I mean, one of the things that I use, it's called a Munit, and it's a GPS-driven timing equipment for a rally car.
Right.
You don't have to run the cables to the gearbox or an extra cable out the speedo or anything like that. You plug it in, you stick this thing on the windscreen of the roof, turn it on, and for the listeners who know, it's like a Brantz or a Holder. This thing is completely self-contained, digital, and it's proper timing gear for a rally car.
Yeah.
And I conclude it works the same with the mobile Wi-Fi. I mean, you'll have something like a hub and off you go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a little hub, a Wi-Fi unit with an aerial connected to it, basically. And then it's about Do you want 4G, 5G, and then how much data do you want to use?
Yeah.
Most people have no idea how much data they consume, and that's my first question: is learn that.
Yeah.
Buy an appropriate SIM that lets you do that.
Yeah.
And away you go. And
The SIM goes into the hub, does it?
it goes into the router, yeah.
Yeah.
And that gives you mobile connectivity. I mean, you can just tether your phone, can't you? But there's lots of reasons why that might not be the best solution for you. So, yeah, mobile Wi-Fi is a big topic of discussion.
Yeah.
And people are working in their vans. I mean, there's lots of people here at this show that live in their vans.
Yeah.
My friends Tash and John are here. They live in a van full-time with their 3 cats. And, yeah, it's a really lovely motorhome.
Yeah.
And that's their life. There are people here that are travelling, big YouTubers that are prolific online and living in a van full-time.
Yeah.
And making a living out of YouTube. So it's a big growth market.
Yeah.
And that niche of YouTubers I've seen explode in the last few years. Fascinating.
If somebody's going out to buy the first motorhome or RV, and as you can see, somebody's already tried to nick one.
They're getting to the end of the show.
Getting to the edge of the...
Someone's a bit keen to go and they've locked the van early.
I mean, I suppose it sounds biased. What would be the best one to start after they've sat in them, played with them, had a look round them, tried to nick one?
It'll stop in a minute.
Which is the best, or which way?
It's too subjective to answer. It's about the best one for you. So, and you don't know what you don't know. So, as I say, go and try lots of layouts. It's all about layout. Go and hire one. Go and hire 3. Do different layouts. With single beds, bunk beds, double bed, rear lounge, as we were talking earlier, and learn the pros and cons of each layout. That's what it's all about. And then, of course, the budget's a factor as well. Prices have rocketed for sure. 20 grand used to be a good starting budget. Really, it's 30 plus now.
Right.
And that's a healthy budget to have. If you get to 40, 50, the choice broadens significantly. And it's 100 grand plus is not uncommon. There's motorhomes here for £200,000 plus.
I mean, one thing, apart from those who live in them and things like that, I conclude, say, a 4, 5, 6-year-old motorhome isn't forced to be particularly high mileage, because not all of them will be used all the time, will they? So they'll be in the driveway, hooked up to something that keeps everything ticking over. So it won't be a high mileage vehicle, it's main.
I mean, historically, 4,000 miles a year was not uncommon at all.
Yeah.
I think that's changed a little bit. 10, 12,000 has become more common as people are using them more and everyday vehicles. So a low mileage motorhome, is that a good buy? Not necessarily, because it's not been run in.
Yeah.
The DPF can fail, EGR valves can seize up. They need running. At the end of the day, they're a DPD van underneath, aren't they? They were there to be driven like they were stolen. 100 parcels a day. It's a van, and people forget that. And my other question is, though, it's low mileage. How many nights has it been slept in? So if someone's lived in it full time for 4 years and they've only done 500 miles a year, then that's it's going to be a tired van.
Yeah. And looking around, the other thing is, I get the feeling that you can buy, if you buy one that's a bit used inside, you can completely replace everything in it.
Of course, you can retrim it, refurnish it, repair it, but it's the appliances, the wear out, the water pump, the grill, the hob, all these things. The heating system's going to get tired if it's had a lot of use.
Yeah.
Most motorhomes don't. I mean, it's rare that people are living in them. They're a small minority. Most of them get used 3-4 weeks a year, and that's it. It just sits on the drive the rest of the time or in storage.
So it's a bit like a car then. It's sat on the driveway with a piece of sheeting over it. It's probably
your car, maybe. That Morgan of yours.
That lives in, that gets better looked after than I do. Well, given the fact where we are now, and this is the Friday of the 3-day event here at Harrogate, tomorrow, I know this will be going out in a few weeks' time, but tomorrow the Morgan is earning its keep, it's rallying. It's not a trailer queen or a show queen. It gets out there, whatever the weather, it gets out there and gets its little bum kicked. But, have you any last words of advice for somebody who's thinking of getting into it?
Yeah, do your research. That's it. I mean, you listen to our podcast, Motorhome Matt. There's loads of helpful advice on there. There really is. Go and try if you can afford to hire a few times, do it. Come to a show like this. Go to as many shows as you can, sit in as many layouts as possible.
Irritate all the salesmen.
Yeah, that's fine, but we're used to that. That's it. We're an industry that loves that.
Yeah.
We're very, very used to it. It's a big decision. It's one of the biggest bouts of money you'll ever spend. And sit in lots and lots and lots, and just don't rush into it. Don't buy the first one you see. I know it's easy to say.
Yeah.
But really understand the layouts and get very familiar with the different facilities, different functions. We've got beds that pull down magically out the ceiling. There's lots of great features in them, real home-from-home comforts, and really start to understand what it is you actually want to use it for and how you're going to use it.
Matt Sims, Motorhome Matt. Give your podcast one good last plug.
Certainly, that's very kind. Thank you. You can find us at motorhomematt.co.uk. We're on every podcast platform, and we're a YouTube channel as well, simply Motorhome Matt. It's all free, obviously. Go and have a listen. There's lots of useful hints, tips, insider advice, industry insights. It's all good fun, light-hearted. Go and check it out.
And you can even go and rent or buy one off it.
You can You can check us out. You can see links to those businesses of ours on the podcast page.
Matt Sims, Motorhome Matt. Thank you very much for joining me on the Backseat Driver.
Rarely beaten on price, never beaten on service. Whether it's cars, bikes or commercials, Hoddy Tyres are the best in the business. And when it comes to tyre expertise and advice to supplying the correct tyres for your vehicle's specific requirements, nobody comes close to David Lakin and the Hoddy Tyres team. So give them a call on 01200 613 192 or visit the website at hoddytyres.co.uk.